Residents of the Libyan capital Tripoli took to the streets in celebration.
Indeed, they are rejoicing about the declaration by the country's Supreme Court that the internationally recognized parliament is unconstitutional. The ruling further piles pressure on the government of Prime Minister Abdullah Al-Thani, holed up in the remote eastern town of Tobruk near the Egyptian border, and has almost no control over Libya's three main cities. The court had been asked by Islamist lawmaker Abderraouf Al-Manai to rule on the constitutionality of the parliament elected in June that approved Thani's government. Al-Manai, with other Islamist lawmakers, boycotted the parliament sessions, arguing that the legislature was in breach of the constitution because it was sitting in neither Tripoli nor second city, Benghazi. He said he had also argued that the parliament had exceeded its authority in calling for foreign military intervention. And joining us to discuss this is our North Africa correspondent, Aya Haraz. Thank you for joining us, Aya. What exactly is the situation now? Is the parliament led by Al-Thani reacting to this court ruling?
Well, the Libya crisis at the moment certainly just got more complicated. Now, this decision does leave Libya without any officially recognized government and will only cement and widen the division between different dominated factions such as the Islamist, tribal and nationalist factions who have been in conflict for months. The reaction to the statement has been very clear by the House of Representatives members who said that we reject the Supreme Court ruling. But I'm just going to quickly backtrack and give some context on when it began. It actually began in August, this legal challenge that was being put forward by boycotting Islamist and Mizrahi members of the House of Representatives who came out and said that the Islamist and former members of the General National Congress, along with them, began challenging the legality of the new House of Representatives, which was just elected over a month ago in July, when in August they took that decision. Now, many of the House representatives said they were very confused about the ruling by the Supreme Court, who said that they thought yesterday the court will just issue a statement on where the place of the parliament should be seated and not the elections that brought it into power. This was according to the House of the Representatives spokesperson. Now, the initial legal challenge was actually based on the fact that the parliament should be either seated in Benghazi and not Tobruk, but the court ruled that the electoral process that made these elections possible in the first place did not actually follow the proper protocol. Now, where they went wrong exactly on the proper protocol is still not yet clear, but the electoral law that the House of Representatives said was breached was actually put in place by the GNC itself, who are claiming at the moment that it's illegal. So it's a very confused statement at the moment that's being made by the Supreme Court. But the House of Representatives has gone forward and said that this verdict, they believe, was actually false. They said that the court where the ruling took place is under control by the Islamist and Mizrahi militias that are currently opposing the House of Representatives, and they believe that the decision was made under gunpoint, where militants, they have said, threatened the judges and their families. One member of the House of Representatives actually gave a number saying that around 300 armed militiamen had been surrounding the court when the decision was made. But the question now is, what happens now? The House of Representatives, if dissolved, will actually leave the previous parliament and an unpopular General National Congress to resume the activities as the only valid and democratically elected legislature in the country. But it won't be supported by many members, according to the House of Representatives, this kind of verdict. They believe that not only them will be against this verdict, but also armed factions across Libya that won't support it. That will include armed units that are currently trying to secure eastern Libya. Also, the forces loyal to General Khalifa Haftar at the moment, who are fighting the Islamist militias in Benghazi. So it will be very crucial to see what kind of path Libya will take after this kind of verdict was made.
All right, now basically what is the implication of this court ruling on Libya? Is it that the parliament constituted by the militia is now in charge?
Well, what happens is that it will leave a vacancy where giving militiamen and extremists to call many of the shots. There is a lack of a legitimate government currently in Libya, which will mean that there's no one who will regulate things like and guide the central bank or manage Libya's oil funds and revenues abroad. So it actually does put pressure on the international community to try and intervene, and it makes it even more necessary and likely for them to intervene. But so far, the UN support mission in Libya has only said that they're studying the situation in Libya and trying to encourage all different factions to put aside their interests and make their priority Libya's future. But clearly that's where the division lies, on where they believe the priority and the future of Libya should be heading.
Now, Aya, we can see residents of the capital, Tripoli, jubilating after that court ruling. How widespread is this celebration? Are there dissenting voices in Libya worth considering?
Yes, definitely. What we're seeing is that those who are supporting and celebrating this decision are those who are residents of Misrata, who they've seen their own factions from Misrata back this decision, and as the House of Representatives said, were forced to make this kind of verdict by the Supreme Court. But there are lots of residents in Libya who are saying, well, what about our vote? We voted in this House of Representatives on the Parliament in June. Why now has it become unconstitutionally illegal? On what basis? And that question hasn't been answered by the Supreme Court and hasn't made it clear where the House of Representatives have gone wrong exactly. But so far, until now, the House of Representatives is denying the verdicts made by the Supreme Court and saying that they will continue to work despite this verdict. So it's really chaotic at the moment in Libya, and these kind of decisions will only cement the continuing division in the country.
Aya Haraz, our North Africa correspondent, giving us updates on the story on Libya, the court ruling there. Many thanks.